Welcome to my workshop, Hecate is here to stay. My name is Sandra Roman. I am a priestess of Avalon, a priestess of the goddess. I'm from Argentina, and I chose this name for my workshop inspired by a very beautiful jazz song that says, "It's very clear, our love is here to stay. Not for a year, but ever and a day." In witchcraft, a year and a day is the traditional length of time to prepare spells, to achieve a certain level of magical study, or to review the vows in a sacred marriage. But to become a true wise crone could take us forever, and perhaps a day. It doesn't matter. Hecate is here to stay with us, to teach us, to help us, and eventually to initiate us in the greater mysteries. My first approach to this goddess was through the Mother Peace Tarot, where the card that usually corresponds to the Hermit, the number 9 in the major arcana, is Hecate instead of Crones. This card is associated with the planet Saturn. In Mother Peace, we know it as the Crone. And here we find something really interesting. We usually attribute to Saturn, the Roman god, everything that has to do with the passage of time, because the name Chronos in Greek is actually confused with the Greek word chronos, which is the personification of time. But in reality, it had nothing to do with Saturn or Cronos, the king of the Titans. Cronos, instead of Cronus, is not a god, but the personification of a concept. When I saw this definition, I understood why many feminist writers call him, as well as Hades, the Roman Pluto, a usurper of the original attributes of Hecate, a pre-Hellenic goddess believed to have originated in Anatolia. Although we can find certain analogies, like the fact that he eats his children, which we can see as a metaphor for how time can devour us. This is the concept of time we have in our culture, where many people are afraid of the passage of time, and there is an avidity for plastic surgery to cover up wrinkles. Fortunately, white and gray hair is becoming fashionable. This is a reason to celebrate because time passes and it is inexorable. Therefore, the sooner we can accept reality, the less we will suffer and the more opportunities we will have to acquire true wisdom and become crones. And here is another very interesting fact that has to do with the word crone. I was looking for the etymology of crone, and I was surprised to find that it does not come from the Greek chronos, but from a French word that means carrion. So here we see something tremendous that has to do with this patriarchal culture in which we live, in which an old man is generally associated with wisdom acquired over time, the wisdom that years and experience give. On the other hand, an old woman is carrion. She's something to throw away. In my country, there are many jokes about mothers-in-law, ridiculing them as old women, but there is also a rebellious political movement called the Old Women's Revolution. To find this horrible origin of the name crone really shocked to me, because we are not carrion, but rather the ladies of time, as daughter of the goddesses who were honored in the beginning of humanity. In other sense, Saturn was the most distant planet known in ancient times, So, in a sense, it marked the boundary of the solar system. Beyond it was the mystery, the unknown universe. That is why the planets that were discovered later and are beyond Saturn are called transpersonal. They are beyond the personal. They connect us to the great mysteries of life. They are different from the other planets that are closer to Earth. This is where Saturn's ability to set limits comes from as we go through our life cycles, known as Saturn cycles. A cycle is the rotation a planet makes from its original position in our natal chart until it returns and makes a conjunction with itself. A cycle of Saturn takes about 28 years to be complete, so we experience the first return of Saturn around that age. The second return takes close to 56 or 58 years old. Both of them mark the most significant changes in our maturation process. Saturn appears as a rather unfriendly figure, usually associated with male authority. We could experience these processes much better if we choose instead to welcome a wise, loving grandmother to guide us and teach us how to grow. Within this cycle, there are other moments in our lives when Saturn comes to challenge us with more responsibility in our lives. These are transitional moments that land us when we want to keep dreaming and not stop to being children. The first of these occurs when it squares our natal Saturn around the age of 7. This usually coincides with the time of socialization of children, when they start going to school and are no longer so much at home with their parents. We begin to see a first degree of independence. Then, at 14, we are in a transitional period between childhood and adolescence. This is when we have the opposition to our natal Saturn, and we rebel against it. We don't want authority. I'm not a child anymore, and I want to make my own rules. It is a difficult time. At 21, we reach the age of majority. When we get the keys to the house, we feel like adults and begin to take our lives seriously. We begin to take charge of who we want to be. We may choose a college career, or we may prefer to earn money through work, or we may find ourselves making plans for a couple and family. Around the age of 28, we began to strengthen the foundations of our careers, families, and relationships. In my particular case, during this first Saturn return, I won a postgraduate scholarship in journalism with internships at one of the most important newspapers in my country. It was the dream of my life. I moved to Buenos Aires on my own, became independent, and began to rise in my career as a journalist. With the first Saturn square, after the first return, around 35 or 36, everything usually goes into crisis, and it is likely that a change of direction is decided. That's when my birth chart was read for the first time, and I discovered goddess spirituality. Then I took Tarot Mother Peace classes with the same astrologer that read my natal chart. And it was then that I had my first encounter with Goddess Hecate. I had no intention of quitting my job at that time, nor did I intend to read cards for other people. I was learning the tarot as a tool for self-knowledge. But when we came to the Crown card, I felt a stabbing pain in my heart that would not let me breathe. It was a pain as if I had been stabbed with a dagger. Maybe I was experiencing a memory from another life, but I didn't know it then. My teacher brought a deck of Spanish cards for me to read. I had used them when I was a teenager as a fortune-telling game that was very funny to me because of the strange phrases that came to my mind as I read them. So I began to read them again, feeling strongly the energies of Hecate emanating from her card, and as I expressed my own intuitions, the pain lessened until it disappeared. From a distance, contact with the existence of Hecate may have been traumatic because those of us who are dedicated to the study of the mysteries surely carry in our unconscious the memory of some terrible punishment for being witches beyond this life. Hecate is the goddess of magic and has always been associated with sorcery, and she is considered the mother of witches. Before this episode, my inner vision was blocked, but then it was awakened, and this pain opened a door in my life that has never been closed. A short time later, while still under the Saturn skewer, I moved to Glastonbury and became a priestess of Avalon. The second return of Saturn is particularly significant for women because it is associated with the deepening of the menopausal process. This is why I call this chapter Hecate is Here to Stay, because after menopause, there is such an important change in our lives that nothing is ever the same again. If we act from the wisdom that Hecate brings us, we can be sure that this wisdom will also come to stay. The challenge is how to absorb it and make it our own in order to be able to face all the fears that assault us at this time. Not only the fear of growing old and losing the beauty of youth, but the greatest fear of all, the fear of annihilation. The fear of death has been with us practically all our lives. However, as time goes by, this fear is diluted because, for different reasons, we begin to get used to the idea that someday our life will end, and thus not mean the end of the life of the soul, according to the belief of each person. For each one is a different afterlife. Hecate stands at the crossroads where three paths meet. She has three faces. One looks to the past, another to the present, and the third to the future. That is why she is also the young woman, the middle woman in the fullness of her fertility, and the wise old woman. These three faces of the goddess represent the ages of women as perceived by ancient matricentric societies. These societies were based on the feminine values of the mother. They were not matriarchal. Matriarchies are usually patriarchies. Matriarchies are not matricentric, but patriarchies exercised by women, establishing levels of hierarchy. In matristic culture, on the other hand, the dominant values are those of the mother. They have to do care with nourishment, with equal education and opportunities for all. These are values of justice and equity, because for a mother who is truly centered in her role, all her children have the same rights and opportunities. The authority of the Crones was the exercise of wisdom. They were the ones who knew where was the best land to sow, which were the safest place to live. where to find water. They knew from experience and intuition because they knew how to allow their channels of perception to open at the time of menopause. At this stage of life, a woman can open her third eye and focus her vision inward. When young women are menstruating, our bodies experience the phase of the dark moon, which is associated with Hecate. The phase of the new moon or dark moon marks a time when we are much more connected to our inner wisdom. We can feel prophetic. We are more witches. And when we stop bleeding, we are immersed in the energies of the wise crone all the time. It is no longer a transitory state associated with the menstrual cycle, but acquired through the rite of passage that marks the process toward menopause. Yet feminine education encourages us not to awaken these gifts, but to silence them, as if growing old were a shame rather than a stage that can become the most fulfilling of our lives. To see us as witches has become something to be feared because the word has taken on a negative connotation. It is usually used to describe people who used black magic or sorcery to do evil, when in fact, witches were wise women, they were healers, and especially they were midwives. They were, and they are, women on the thresholds between life and death. That is why they helped people to be born, and those same midwives were also responsible for accompanying them in the final transit, in the passage to the other world. Maybe that is why they were persecuted. Many were accused of causing disease. The Inquisition coincided with the time of the Great Plagues in Europe, and so the situation was used to blame them for all the evils and thus to favor the birth of medicine, the so-called art of healing, as a science and not too much as a knowledge connected to the earth with the use of herbs and the knowledge of the phases of the moon. They knew when the moon was more favorable to cure certain ailments or to procreate, and even to know in which moon they could procreate daughters or sons. It was from the need for this knowledge that women became the first astrologers, but very little is known about them, since current astrology interprets the functions of the planet mostly from the perspective of male gods. However, according to Hellenic astrology, Saturn was seen as feminine. There is not much information about this except that a first century writer known as Dorotheus of Sidon made reference to this in his work Carmen Astrologicum. Saturn ensured gender parity among the rulers of the signs. Saturn, Moon, and Venus are feminine. Sun, Mars, and Jupiter masculine. And Mercury is neutral. To know more about the ancient feminine wisdom and to know the true life of goddesses, of the true myths of goddesses, we have to go beyond the historical or literary evidence and combine it with much of our experience and intuition. For example, we might conclude that Saturn was considered feminine because the limitations she presents to us are related to an earthly energy. They have to do not only with time, which by definition is a physical quantity used to measure the duration or separation of events, but also with the limitations imposed on the soul by inhabiting a body made of matter and its restrictions. We have already seen how we tend to mistakenly believe in the etymological origin of certain words. For example, materia, material, comes from a Latin word meaning wood. However, it usually makes much more sense to us that the word matter, the matrix from which life arises, could come from the same root, the mother. In the major arcana of the tarot, the values of matter and mother are represented in Arcanum 3, the Empress. In the journey of the full newborn, the encounter with the Arcanum of the Empress signifies the awareness of the physical body and the recognition of being nurtured and cared for by a mother. We can also think of Saturn as feminine because it presents us with responsibilities that have to do with caring, which is one of the values of the mother. In a sense, it encourages us to become our own mothers. Some astrologers see Saturn as representing the authority of the father. In a patriarchal society, father is seen as the ultimate authority, the law. In many homes, however, the law is personified by the mother, and in many cases, the mother assumes both roles in the absence of the male parent. Using different criteria, other astrologers consider Saturn to be the mother. There is a wide range of views during these times. The traditional roles of mother and father are not so much ascribed to one gender or the other. Learning to dance with the energies of Crones and the Crone gives us the opportunity to develop our own inner wisdom. The return of transiting Saturn in the company of Hecate allows us to better understand the obstacles and hesitations we encounter along the way. It challenges us, but also brings us a compassionate view. She teaches us that acceptance creates true miracles in our lives and allows everything to flow at its own pace. In my personal case, I am still experiencing my second Saturn return, and Hecate's presence is very significant at this time in my life. I have Saturn in the final degrees of Aquarius. This made Saturn visiting my natal Saturn 3 times. First, it passed in direct mode. Then it returned in retrograde mode, and then it made the third conjunction at the time of my birthday. As an added gift, it was captured in my solar return, which allows me to dive even deeper into the energy of this goddess. So I am still exploring and want to share my discoveries with you, confident that you will find them very useful. 3 visits, one of each face of the goddess, one for each torch. Hecate is the bearer of the light that guides us and helps us through the dark night of the soul. Each encounter with the goddess allowed me to connect with the 3 aspects within me. The maiden who refuses to wait, she wants all the changes take place now. But we are no longer the maiden. Anyway, her spirit lives within us, and we need to rediscover her, to relearn to use her gifts. This is where we learn to heal and rescue the inner child and choose how to manifest it at this stage of our lives. We can become old wise women and at the same time keep going our creativity, our playfulness, and our innocence, not to be confused with naivety, because we have to learn from our own experiences. The second aspect is the mother of myself, into which I must transform, because for this transit of my life, since my mother is no longer on this plane, I must transcend the orphan and assume myself as the oldest woman in my family. And the crone, to be precise, which is not a fixed archetype either, but in constant evolution, like the previous ones, rediscovering myself in different roles, transforming myself, and enjoying the infinite dance of change. I will not go into many personal details, as this process will be different for each person, depending on how the planetary transits play out in their own horoscope. The unique and fascinating roadmap that deserves the awe and wonder of being discovered step by step. But I relate this learning to dance with change to the transit of Uranus in Taurus and the upcoming visit of Pluto over my natal sun, which also has much of the energy of Hecate. But it can also be experienced as the energy of Ceridwen, the witch of the cauldron. The experience of maturation should not be traumatic but empowering if we manage to live the transit in this way. It is as if Saturn comes into our lives and incarnates the priestess who will be our doula on the way to the great final journey back into the arms of the goddess. Feeling the loving presence of Hecate and Ceridwen allows us to face the final stage of our life from a place of wonder rather than fear, full of curiosity and with less drama. It must be lived as a profound process of detachment from material things and emotions. The three phases of Hecate can also be experienced as the three Moira of Greek mythology, the spinners responsible for spin, measure, and cut the thread of life. They are also the Norns of Norse mythology, weaving the thread of life and destiny. As were known as Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. They are also the archetypal figures of the Wheel of Fortune Arcanium in Liz Green and Juliet Schalmenburg Mythic Tarot. Clotho was the spinner, Lachesis measured, and Atropos, the unavoidable, was the one who cut the thread of life. Also, in them we find the three phases of Hecate, but instead of leaving them as a sentence, she is the great initiating teacher. She does not have to be rude, but we feel her as the loving grandmother who embraces us in the dark night of the soul. For many of us, going through this time means facing our own ghosts and fears. But it is also a time to look back and appreciate all that we have done in this life, everything we have accomplished. It is a time to recognize ourselves and to rebuild, even to change our direction if we are not satisfied with what we have achieved so far, or if we feel that we are not living the life we imagined. Then it is a good time to take the distaff of the Moiras as if it were a rudder and make a definitive turn. Just as Saturn is called the principle of reality, in mythology, it is Hecate who advises the meter to seek the knowledge of truth, even though the result of knowing it would be to confront Hades, Pluto, the irrevocable god of the dead. The meter, Mother Nature, followed her advice and succeeded in saving Persephone, her daughter, the Virgin. Once again, the triple goddess teaches us to grow and transform our gifts into talents. The result that awaits us is our own evolution, knowing that it is in the acceptance of reality that we can truly be mistresses of our destiny. We can find the power of Hecate long before we stop bleeding. In my 40s, at a workshop with a great singer, I love her, Annick Radianhart, at the Goddess Conference in Glastonbury, I felt a tug in my womb and the sensation of the materializing. As Anik continued to sing to Hathor to awaken the second chakra, I felt a flash of heat for the first time in my life, along with the sensation of some kind of electrical energy running through my nervous system. As we meditated, I made my breathing slower, longer, and deeper. In this way, I raised the energy in all my chakras. The fear I felt at first of an unknown sensation was transformed into a feeling of well-being, like the one we experience when we wake up in the morning after a good night's rest. I remembered what I had read from some authors of feminine spirituality about transforming the so-called hot flashes into waves of physical and psychic power. They are a symptom of the awakening of the Kundalini energy, which is held like a coiled snake in our root chakra at the base of the spine. This is the same energy that we have experienced in our uterus during the various phases of the menstrual cycle, and especially during childbirth. After menopause, this energy that was active to carry and give birth to new life now needs to be elevated and released to be used in our spiritual life. That is why the wisdom of Hecate, the wisdom of the Crone, is not only based on the experience of having lived many years, but because she has learned how to manage her energy and redirect it in a conscious way for her self-healing and the unfolding of her inner vision. So you can use the energy of hot flashes not to embarrass yourself, but to heal yourself. Once again, we find the triple goddess within our own bodies. Kundalini, our available energy. Shakti, which is activated during orgasm and the changes of menopause. And Hecate, who directs the energy to fulfill our soul purpose. It is very important at this time of life that you practice yoga so that you can transform this energy. I especially recommend Kundalini Yoga, which focuses on activating, circulating, and elevating the Kundalini energy so that you can use it for your spiritual experience as well as for your physical, mental, and emotional health. Kundalini Yoga exercises are a source of health and well-being because each kriya or set of exercises targets specific organs or functions or systems such as the digestive system, the heart, the mind. Kundalini Yoga is an instruction manual, the one they forgot to put under our arm when we were born into life. And now I want to invite you to an initiation journey into the cave of wisdom, the cave of Hecate. So close your eyes and connect with the rhythm of your breath, inhaling and exhaling through your nose in a long, slow, deep way. As you breathe in and out, allow your body to be relaxed. The next time you inhale, you will bring the navel forward and upward. This will cause your chest to rise. As your chest rises, turn your shoulders back so that they fall relaxed. Exhale slowly, bringing your chin back and stretching your cervical spine slightly. Continue to inhale and exhale through your nose until you feel completely relaxed. Now focus your attention on visualizing or imagining a point of light shining in the center of your heart. Watch as a thread of light emerges from this point of light, connecting your heart to the heart of Mother Earth. Follow the thread of light passing through all your lower chakras, both those within the physical body and those beyond it, until you reach the chakra we know as the crystal at the center of the earth, where we feel the beating of her heart. As you breathe in, you are bringing the energies of Mother Earth's heart up through each chakra, opening and activating them. Breathe in and breathe out, filling each of your chakras with energy until you reach your heart. Feel a strong connection to Mother Earth and become aware of her holding you through the force of gravity. She is holding you lovingly, like a mother cradling her baby. The next time you breathe in, focus your attention on the point of light in the center of your heart and the thread of light that continues going up into your higher chakras, out through the crown chakra, and at the speed of light to the most distant star you can imagine. You will approach it and enter into the energy field of that star, into her body of light. Connect your light thread to her heart, the heart of Mother Star, in the heart of the universe. As you breathe in, you will bring the energies of the heart of the Mother Star through the thread of light that connects all of your chakras, both those outside of your physical body, beyond your crown chakra, as well as those within your physical body, to your heart, cleansing and activating them. Breathe in deeply and draw the energies from the heart of Mother Earth together with the energies from the heart of the Mother Star into your heart. Radiate them together from your own heart, expanding and surrounding you. Feel them move through your physical body and your energy field. Feel your energy field expand around you, as close or as far away as you feel comfortable, creating your sacred space, your space of protection. Now imagine that you are sitting in front of a small fire in a cave, feeling the warmth of this womb of Mother Earth. You breathe in to absorb the warmth of the fire. You feel very comfortable. You feel at peace. Relaxed and serene, you begin to look back on the most significant moments of your life, and you open the eyes of your heart and the ears of your soul to hear this poem by Saturn. Feel it and make it your own. When a woman feels alone, when the room is full of demons, the Nootka tribe tells us, the old woman will be there. She has come to me over 3,000 miles. And what does she have to tell me, traveled by phantoms in the night? Is she really here? What is the saving word from so deep in the past? From as deep as the ancient root of the redwood? From as deep as the primal bed of the ocean? From as deep as a woman's heart sprang open again through a hard birth or a hard death. Here, under the shock of love, I am open to you, primal spirit, one with broken ways, one with survivors of flood and fire, who have rebuilt their homes 1,000,000 times, who have lost their children and born them again. The words I hear are strength, laughter, endurance. Old woman, I meet you deep inside myself, there in the root bed of fertility, well without end, as the legend tells it. Under the words, you are my silence. Take a deep breath and continue to feel the depth of May Saturn's words within you. As you welcome an old woman who is coming to you, the goddess Hecate. See her coming towards you, opening her arms, lovingly to welcome you, saying to you, this is a very sacred time. This is a time to go within and hold your own sacred ceremony. This is your time to die to old illusions and fantasies. Your time to grow up and take responsibility for creating your destiny. Embrace Hecate and tell her whatever you need to tell her. Enjoy the opportunity to be heard. We don't always find ears willing to listen to us without judgment or opinion, to really pay attention to what we are saying, and to simply be with us, to accompany and support us with their presence. Tell Hecate everything you have never told anyone before. Let yourself be caressed and comforted by this grandmother. How important grandmothers are in our lives. Perhaps you are a grandmother now. Become aware of the wonderful role you have as a grandmother. Be aware of the great honor you have to be a guide and a comfort to your granddaughters or grandsons, to teach them ancient wisdom, to teach them the value of their lives, the value of being who they are. You are the wise old woman now, and if you are not yet, you will be eventually. So welcome this new wisdom, this new way of being present in life. If you wish, you can ask Hecate what you want to know, what you need to know in order to make a decision or to choose a new direction in your personal path. She may answer you, or she may simply remind you that when you are at a crossroads, it is the voice of your soul that must decide which way to go. Put your hands close to your ear, as Hecate does in the Mother Peace Tarot card. Listen to your own voice, the voice of your inner wisdom. Take a deep breath and feel the presence of Hecate in each of your cells. Open the eyes of your spirit and realize that she is not separate from you. Feel her power and her energy. Feel how she is. The same you are. From that inner fire within your womb cave, she is who sends you those surges of energy, those waves of heat for you to transform into power and wisdom. Breathe in deeply and allow this energy to move up your spine and out through your crown chakra, perfecting your connection to the mother star, to the source. Continue to inhale powerfully. Fill your entire body with this energy. Exhale. You have been initiated into the great mysteries and power of Grandmother Hecate. Take your power now. If your body is feeling uncomfortable, you can use this energy to transform it. Many medical treatments, such as chemotherapy, are based on raising your body temperature, so your heat waves could transform your symptoms. Breathe in deeply and bring this heat into every cell of your body. Allow the sacred alchemy of your own healing to manifest. Continue to inhale and exhale, taking that energy into each of your cells, feeling your body strengthen and fill with energy. Feel your vitality. You are truly fit for many things. No matter how old you are precious. The goddess Hecate lives within you and manifests herself through you. She needs you to be alive in the world. Inhale deeply, and when you feel it, very, very slowly, you will open your eyes. You can move slowly to return to your usual physical awareness. When you wish, you can do this meditation again and connect with Hecate as long as you need to. You can ask her to show you what each of the paths at your current crossroads holds for you. I hope you enjoyed this initiation into the energy of Hecate, the crone who has come into your life to stay and transform you with her wisdom. Blessed be.